Alright, exercise number 1 is an exercise I came up with to help accent the upstroke on ascending patterns and the downstroke on descending patterns, going back down the scale. Keep in mind that any of these exercises I show you, you can play in any of the shapes using the same patterns. I'm only going to show you in one shape so you get the basic idea, but please practice these in all the other shapes as well. I'm going to show you this exercise in the Locrian shape, which, if you remember, is the first shape I've shown you in the previous lesson. It begins on the second fret of the low E string, which is the F sharp. Alright, so this exercise basically starts on the second fret. It goes 2, 3, 5, which is the typical scale on the low E. 2, 3, 5 on the low E. Keep in mind to alternate pick all these notes. Down, up, down, up. So it is 2, 3, 5 on the low E. The upstroke, the accented upstroke, is on the second fret of the A. And you down pick the 5th fret of the low E. After that, immediately after that, you go 2, 3, 5 on the A string, which is also the typical scale once again. So that first cycle is as follows. Okay. Then you just keep repeating that pattern all throughout the entire scale shape. So the next cycle that I like to call these cycles because they're basically repeating patterns all throughout the entire scale shape. The next cycle begins on the second fret of the A, and it is 2, 3, 5 on the A, upstroke the second fret of the D, downstroke the 5th fret of the A, 2, 4, 5 on the D. Keep in mind the reason it's 2, 4, 5 on the D and not 2, 3, 5 like the previous two strings is because those are the notes within the Locrian shape of the E minor scale. Okay, so far we have. Okay, after that you go 2, 4, 5 on the D, upstroke 2 on the G, downstroke 5 on the D, 2, 4, 5 on the G. Then you upstroke the 3 on the B, downstroke the 5 on the G, 3, 5, 7 on the B, upstroke the 3 on the high E, downstroke the 7 on the B, 3, 5, 7 on the high E. So the entire pattern will sound like this. You can also do that in the reverse, the descending pattern, to where you accent the downstroke. On the descending pattern, however, you want to begin on an upstroke, not a downstroke. If you begin on a downstroke, then it's going to put your accent on the upstroke as well. But you can. It's fun to play with that. But in order to get a full exercise out of this, we need to accent the upstroke and the downstroke. Okay, so the descending pattern will sound like this. Okay. So that is the first exercise. Okay, so exercise number 2 is actually an exercise that I learned from actually another YouTube video a long time ago, and I still use it quite regularly. I think it's a very fun exercise to play, and it helps with the dexterity of your fingers. I'm going to show you this in the Ionian shape of the E minor scale, which, as you know, begins on the G, the 3rd fret of the low E, and is 7, 3, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8. Okay, so this shape basically, to explain it and to summarize it in brief terms, you could say you're taking 2 steps forward and 1 step backwards, if that makes sense. So basically what you're doing is you're beginning on the typical first note of the scale, skipping the second, going to the third, going back to the note you missed, skipping the next note, going to the next note, going back to the note you missed, skipping the next note, going to the next note, etc., going back to the one you missed, and skipping a note. So basically going 2 forward, 1 back, 2 forward, 1 back, within the scale shape. So, in the Ionian shape, you begin on the 3rd fret of the low E. Keep in mind to alternate pick this exercise as well. You begin on the 3rd fret of the low E, You skip the 5th and go to the 7th. Go back to the 5th that you missed. Go to the 3rd fret of the A. Go back to the 7th that you missed on the low E. Go to the 5th fret of the A. Then you have 37 on the A. So far we have. Okay. After that, you go back to the note you missed after the 7th, which was the 5 on the A. And you go 5 on the A, 4 on the D, 7 on the A, 5 on the D, 4 on the D, 7 on the D. So. Okay, so after the 7 on the D, you go to the 5th fret of the D, 4th fret of the G, 7th fret of the D, 5th fret of the G, 4th fret of the G, 7th fret of the G. So up to there we have. After that, you go 5th fret of the G, 5th fret of the B, 7th fret of the G, 7th fret of the B, 5th and 8th fret of the B, 7th fret of the B, 5th fret of the high E, 8th fret of the B, 7th fret of the high E, and then 5 and 8 on the high E. So this entire pattern will sound like this. Okay, you can also do that in a descending pattern, which is the complete opposite of what I just showed you. I'll play it slowly so you can see what I'm doing without explaining it in detail. Okay, so you can practice these using a metronome, which is a great idea. Starting out slow and progressively working your way up to a faster speed. So that is exercise number 2. Alright, so exercise number 3, which is the last exercise I'm going to show you in this lesson. I'm going to show you the Mixolydian shape, which, as you remember, is 10, 12, 14, 10, 12, 14, 10, 12, 14, 11, 12, 14, 12, 13, 15, 12, 14, 15. Alright, this exercise you need to break down into groups of 4, notes of 4, because basically it is repeating notes of 4. And in this particular case, you're taking 4 steps forward and 3 steps backwards, as opposed to the other one. So this particular, starting out in this particular exercise, keep in mind, alternate pick all these as like all the others. Begin again on the normal scale shape. Play the first 4 notes of the scale, which is 10, 12, 14 on the low E, 10 on the A. Then you go back to the second note, which is the 12th fret. Play 12, 14 on the low E, 10, 12 on the A. Go back to the third note, which is 4. Begin on the third note this time. 14 on the low E, it'd be 14 on the low E, 10, 12, 14 on the A. Then you keep going. You go 10, 12, 14 on the A. And the 4th note of that pattern will be the 10th fret of the D. So far we have. And you go back to the 12th fret of the A, 14th fret of the A, 10 and 12, I'm sorry, of the D, 14 of the A, 10, 12, and 14 of the D, 10, 12, 14 of the D, upstroked, sorry, hit the wrong note there, upstroke the 11th on the G. Alright, so, and then you keep continuing that pattern all throughout the scale shape. So slowly, this is going to sound like this. So to play it a little faster, it should sound like this. And you can also do that on a descending pattern as well, in doing the same motion. I hope these exercises help you in finding new ways to practice the scale shapes. And I will see you in my next lesson.